everyone, and welcome once again to Caleb Likes Books. Today I have my TBR for the month of December 2024, entering the end of the year now, which is very exciting. Of course, looking ahead to things like end of the year lists and stuff like that. So for this month, I have 2 rereads on my list, as well as 2 brand new books to me, with a potential third. And the way I did it this way is, first of all, the book that I was rereading last month didn't get to. So I'm thinking what I'll do is I will read the 2 new books that I really want to read at the beginning of the month, and then read the 2 rereads at the end of the month. Because on my end of the year list, I don't include rereads and like my favorite books of the year and things like that. And so that way I can get the new books out of the way that might end up on those lists. And then that way I can get those videos done and everything and not have to worry about having read something at the very end of the year that could end up on one of those lists. And so that's the way that I'm kind of thinking to structure this. So like I said, 2 rereads, 3 Star Wars books, 2 of which are the rereads, and then finishing up a couple of series that I've been working on, actually. So first of all, the 2 rereads that are going to be happening are Star Wars Darth Bane Rule of Two and Dynasty of Evil, the 2nd and 3rd books in the Darth Bane trilogy. Now, I intended to read Rule of Two in November. Didn't get around to it. Just didn't have enough time, unfortunately. But it kind of works out because that way I can end December with that, so that I can, not have to worry about that stuff in regards to the rankings and things, like I said. So looking forward to reading these. I enjoyed my reread of Path of Destruction, and I've been looking forward to rereading the other 2 books in the trilogy. Just didn't have time to get around to Rule of Two. So I'm thinking once I finish the other books that are on my TBR for this month, then I will probably do these for like the back half of the month or something like that. And in addition to those, I have, I'm finishing up that trilogy. Also, the other 2 books that I'm planning to do are finishing up a duology and finishing up a 6-book series. So first of all, I have Of Killers and Kings by Will White. This is the final book of the Elder Empire series, which is 2 trilogies that take place at the same time, following 2 different sides of the same story, basically. And this is the 3rd and final book of the Shadow trilogy. And last month, I finished up the 3rd book in the Sea trilogy. So this is the only one I have left to read. I've enjoyed the series quite a bit so far. I really enjoyed a couple of the books in it a lot. 2nd book, I think, was my least favorite of them so far in each respective trilogy. Although I think, my memory is correct, I think the 2nd Sea book was my least favorite, but I can't remember. But either way, I've been enjoying this series, so I'm looking forward to finishing it and having this whole series under my belt, which will be nice. And then next year, I'm hoping that I might be able to read some of Will White's other stuff. Possibly Traveler's Gate or whatever it's called, or maybe Cradle, not really sure. Haven't decided yet, but either way, I do want to read some more Will White next year now that I finished this particular series. And then the other one that I want to read is going to be Deep Roots by Ruth Anna Emrys. This is the 2nd book of the Innsmouth Legacy duology. I read the 1st book, Wintertide, in October, which I thought was okay. It didn't quite land for me the way I hoped it would, but there was some good ideas in it, some interesting concepts and things, some cool world building type stuff. It was a very unique take on the Lovecraft mythos, which I enjoyed. So I have been looking forward to reading the 2nd book. Hopefully I enjoy this one a bit more. We'll see. Maybe it'll land for me a little better. But I am planning to read this month. I was hoping that I could read this in October, didn't get around to it, and I had November pretty well stacked with stuff that I wanted to read. And so I figured I needed some stuff to put in December because I was still putting that together. I figured this could slot right in there. So those are the 4 books that I am definitely planning to read in December. I do have one additional book that was on my TBR for this month, but with the holidays and everything, I'm not completely sure if I'll get around to it because I'll be pretty busy around them. I have several different Christmas celebrations to go to between my family, my wife's family, my parents, and all kind, like several different sides of the family to go to. So it'll be a busy time for sure. So I'm not sure if I will get around to this one or not, but I figure if I do, maybe I can finish or start this at the end of the month. Maybe it'll bleed into January. Just if I need something else to read, and that is Star Wars: The High Republic: Path of Vengeance by, I believe it's Cavan Scott. This is the second young adult book in the High Republic Phase 2 and the final Phase 2 book that I need to read. Of course, there are also like middle grade books and comics and things like that. But when it comes to the High Republic, at least so far, maybe I'll read the middle grade eventually, and maybe the comics as well. But I've been pretty much sticking to the adult novels and the young adult novels. And there are only 2 young adult novels and actually 2 adult novels in Phase 2, which I have read 3 of those 4 books. So this will be the last one, and then once I've read this, then next year I can get started on Phase 3. I would like to be able to get caught up on the High Republic in time for the last book, or at least be reading the last book around the time it comes out, within a month or so maybe, but we'll see if I manage to do that. Kind of just depends on how things go, but I would like to be able to do that. But if I'm able to read this, which if I don't get to it this month, I might just push it to January, maybe February. So I still want to get to it early next year at least, but I will be one step closer to being caught up on the High Republic, which will be really awesome. I've heard a lot of great things about this book. I've heard a lot of great things about Phase 3, so I'm excited to look forward to that and all that stuff. So I might get around to this one. If I don't, then it will probably appear on a TBR in the near future. So that pretty much wraps up my TBR. Let me know in the comments if you have read any of the books that I am talking about. Some of you may notice I did not list the new Stormlight Archive book, Wind and Truth, which I'm sure many of you will be reading. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be getting it at release as much as I would love to. I put that on my Christmas list because I thought that would be a good Christmas list item. And of course, Christmas is at the end of this month. So I don't know if I'm going to be getting that or whatever. If I don't get it for Christmas, I still intend to get it very soon. But because of that, I don't want to go out and get it and read it if it's already on my Christmas list. I don't want to get, a duplicate or something. So yeah, that's the reason I'm not including that on my TBR. Otherwise, I'd absolutely be reading it. Yeah, that's why. So those of you out there who are going to be reading it, I hope you enjoy it. But yeah, if you've read anything that I talked about in here, let me know. And if you are planning to read anything exciting in December, let me know that as well. So that is pretty much it for this video. So thank you all for watching, and I will see you all next time.